ever read that book, Boss Man? That was by by Rooney that he wrote about, where he compared Bill Monroe in bluegrass as the godfather of bluegrass to how B.B. King ran his band.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating book about the dynamics of how they went into these things.
And there's another book that just came out a couple of years ago that compares the paths of Robert Johnson and Jimmy Rogers.
Oh, wow.
Jimmy Rogers from here.
Got to start here.
The singing brakeman from here. That they were like on the same kind of path, you know. And we're both bluesmen, really, when you think about it.
What is it about the blues that sets it apart from other genres?
Because everybody has it. See, George Jones is one of the greatest blues singers in the world. He'll break your heart.
Oh, totally.
And it's not about the chord structure. It's not about singing about the fields, you know, it's not about cotton fields. It's not about and I think that Son House said it's about a man and a woman, you know, and heartbreak and a bottle, you know, and that's country music, isn't it?
Yeah. So
everybody has their own, you know. It's gotten, the lines are blurred now where they used to be. You know, a lot of people never heard this stuff, but when you hear it, it's. I wish I could get that feeling back of hearing it for the first time when Brian played me stuff, you know, and said, "Oh, you like this? Check this out, man," because there's something deeper about it, you know. But even on the most surface version that a band might cover a Howlin' Wolf song or a Muddy Waters song, there's still something in it.
Yeah, that's
amazing, you know.
So, just to finish up, I don't want to take too much more of your time. With the band ending at 25 years, what does that number mean to you, personally and professionally, when you look at where you were in '93, and personally and professionally as a musician, and then just as a person, and where you are right now in 2018?
Well, I don't feel it's anything but a great ride. And that the friends I met along the way and picked up, the acquaintances, the chance to play with people that I never would have met. You know, I don't know when else I would have got on stage with Al Green, you know. That kind of thing, you know, or stood right next to B.B. King or Little Milton, you know, or been able to early on in the show to, when they didn't know what the hell they were doing.
Yeah.
And they would ask me, and I would say, well, Jimmy Rogers is coming, not Chicago Jimmy Rogers. And he's with Ted Harvey and Bob Stroger, and they're come to town to play, and Jimmy Delane, the four of them were in. I said, why don't we get them? Because I know they're doing a gig. So we got them, you know, we'd get them. And those guys were there, and James Cotton came and sat in, and Musselwhite, and, you know, and Kim Wilson, Johnny Johnson.
Yep.
I mean, it was just, we were allowed early on before... You know, the earliest times are my fondest memories.
We can get away with anything.
We got away with so much, you know, and I was just like greasing the blues wheel as much as I could, man.
What performance stuck out the most, or someone that you played with on that show that meant the most?
Isaac Hayes.
Isaac Hayes
doing Shaft. That was killing.
Were you playing with him?
I was. He brought Pitts with him. The original
so that was the one
player.
that stuck out the most that you saw.
Well, I was playing with him too,
with
two guitars, but he brought Wah Pitts with him, man. That cat was playing the, but then I was in the, you know, just in it. It was like 15 pieces on stage. Being in that sticks out to me because he was so gracious to talk about the days of us being a writer.
Yeah.
You know, at Stax, and I'm always interested in asking people, you know, not the normal question, you know, because if Robert Plant's on the show or Jimmy Page and you start talking about Led Zeppelin, a brick wall, you could see it go up. But we talk about Howlin' Wolf, and we went backstage and started playing, you know, some Jimmy Rogers guitar parts at each other, you know? And so we got to be, you know, respected on that level, you know?
And I really take that seriously as a journalist. Don't ask them the same question they've been asked 1,000 friggin' times.
Yeah, Ringo came around, and I said to him, this kind of sums up that way of thinking. And he came into my office, because I had met him a couple of times, and he came, here. I said, you know, I have to ask you this question. I know you're tired of hearing this question. I said, but what was it like to be in the biggest band in Liverpool and then be asked to join the Beatles. he absolutely loved it because he said, yes, Rory Storm was the biggest band.
Yeah.
Rory Storm and the Hurricanes, we were the biggest band. He said I had to take an incredible pay cut.
Well, what you're telling me too is that, and this applies to why we love the blues, is that one of the biggest things that you're taught subconsciously or consciously is to stay close to the source.
Yeah, stay close to the source and also respect, the respect for the artist. It's you have to be respectful. Just, we were so lucky. I mean, Bob even more than me to be in Chicago and to be with Muddy at the time, to be able to play and meet and talk to a lot of these men and women who really, just are just set the groundwork for everything we do, musically.
Yeah. Well,
what became rock and roll started as that,
My last question is, you've had a life creating and performing music, and you've traveled the world and you met all these people. But what does that taught you about what it means to be a human being?
That's that we keep learning. We keep working on that. When I see what Warren did with Habitat, with how he was doing that before.
Yeah,
he was doing that 30 years ago. Okay,
yeah.
Before he was,
Warren
where he is
yeah.
now. So, and I think I may mention this to you too. I think that this is kind of a Shangri-La kind of enclosure in Asheville.
Yeah.
The mountains are around it. The people that can get to it appreciate it. The people that think it's inconvenient to come here don't belong here.
Yeah.
And that Warren takes it with him wherever he goes. So you get a little bit of Asheville. He was brought up right, obviously.
One, it rubs off on you,
Yeah.
and you carry that with you.
Yeah, and I always feel too, to give back it's important to give back. The fires that just happened in LA prove that to nature and whatever God you believe in, you have nothing to say about it, no matter how much money you have.
Yeah.
It could turn on a dime, and tragedy turn on a dime. And it's equally tragic for the billionaire who loses his house, as any of us. We feel bad, but that's
on
nature.
the flip side, you also see the beauty of people coming together and all.
Oh, they do, yeah, and they do. The best was there was a guy who had a yacht, and he loaded it up with water, and they were met with the surfers. So this guy billionaire with his yacht, and the surfers were putting like cases of water on surfboards and coming up to the yacht, getting the water and paddling it in to shore for people.
I love it.
I mean, it was just only Hollywood could write that script, but that's, yeah.